President Biden officially today announced that it is time to end America's longest war. And he says he's doing so by fully withdrawing troops from Afghanistan by September the 11th, which happens to be the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. With me now to talk about this, I think we have Senator Lindsey Graham joining us by phone. Senator, welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much.
So your response to the president's announcement this morning?
A disaster in the making. President Biden is not going to end the war with radical Islam, okay? Radical Islam is not going to surrender. The people of Afghanistan have been fighting al-Qaeda, ISIS, and the Taliban for decades with our help. They don't want to live in soccer stadiums where women get murdered. They don't want to live like the Taliban and al-Qaeda would like them to live. So what President Biden doesn't understand is that the enemy is radical Islam. They killed 3,000 Americans 20 years ago this September only because, Tony, they couldn't think of a way to kill more of us. So we're going to leave Afghanistan against sound military advice. This is the same Joe Biden who advocated leaving Iraq that led to the rise of ISIS, that went to Syria to destroy the Yazidi population, a form of Muslim thinking that put the Kurds at tremendous risk.
Oh, we just lost him.
I think we lost the senator. We'll see if we can get him back on. There are several responses to this today. The Republican minority leader in the Senate, the Republican leader, questioning this as well on the Senate floor. I'm going to go to his comments. This is Mitch McConnell, clip number 3.
Biden takes the easy way out of Afghanistan. The likely result is disaster. This is the morning's lead editorial from one of the nation's most liberal newspapers. The administration has decided to abandon U.S. efforts in Afghanistan, which have helped keep radical Islamic terrorism in check. And bizarrely, they've decided to do so by September the 11th. Apparently, we're to help our adversaries ring in the anniversary of the 9/11 attacks by gift wrapping the country and handing it right back to them.
You know, it's interesting. Even those on the left are questioning this. The majority leader, I mean, it's 50-50, so it's kind of hard to tell who's majority and who's minority. But Chuck Schumer, Democratic leader in the Senate on CNN this morning talking about this, and CNN questioning the timing of this. Clip 5, please.
You were critical last year of President Trump's decision to reduce the troop levels in Afghanistan because you said it was an incoherent policy. How do you feel now about President Biden's decision?
I think President Biden has come up with a careful and thought-out plan. Look, John, the president doesn't want endless wars. I don't want endless wars, and neither do the American people. And it's refreshing to have a thought-out plan with a set timetable instead of the president waking up one morning, getting out of bed, saying what just pops into his head, and then having the generals having walked it back.
Well, joining us now with more on this from the House side, Congressman Joe Wilson of South Carolina. He's a member of the House Armed Services Committee. Congressman, welcome to the program.
Tony, I appreciate being with you and also appreciate the Family Research Council. And hey, my interest in Afghanistan is very personal. My former National Guard unit, the 218th Brigade, served there for a year. I know what great work they did for the people of Afghanistan. My youngest son was an engineer who served in the Army National Guard there in Afghanistan. It's absolutely critical. The president should have completed his statement today. Bring the troops home and then bring the war home, because we either have the opportunity to defeat the terrorists overseas or they will come back. And there could be no clearer example because out of Afghanistan, a cave of Osama bin Laden attacked the World Trade Center, attacked Pennsylvania, tried to attack, the Pentagon. And so this is an invitation to bring the war back to America. And we have such a wonderful opportunity to, with minimal troop forces, we have 2,500 troops there. We have 7,000 of our NATO allies there. We have an opportunity to keep the war in Afghanistan and not bring it home to America.
It's a really good point, Congressman, because we have a small contingency there, but it keeps them in check and keeps them there as opposed to here.
There's really no question. Either, hey, these people are committed to destruction of Western civilization, destruction of Christianity and Judaism, and so they're not going to give up. And what we're turning the country over to is the Taliban. Remember them, the destruction of the prior civilizations of Afghanistan, their alliance with ISIS, their alliance with Al-Qaeda. They have every intent to bring the war back to America.
What about the timing of this September the 11th, the 20th anniversary? I mean, what is that about? Even CNN reporters are questioning that.
Well, that's insanity. But it is correct because 9/11 was the attack on the American people. 3,000 people died across our country, murdered across our country. 9/11 may be very appropriate because now you're bringing them back.
Continuing on this focus on the foreign policy of this administration, one of the other areas that is teeing up to be a very, very dangerous situation is that with Iran.
And Tony, that's another example of insanity. The Iranian mullahs, these mass murderers, that's what they are, have continued to develop intercontinental ballistic missiles. They've never stopped doing that. Well, there's only one reason that you would build an ICBM, and that's to be able to deliver a nuclear warhead against the American people. And a delay of 10 years in their program, which they didn't do, in the eyes of people of ancient Persia, who are the successors here of 4,000 years, 10 years is nothing. And hey, this should be bipartisan. In fact, Senator Joe Lieberman has been one of the greatest critics of the reinstitution of the Iran deal to give hundreds of billions of dollars to people to plan to kill the American people. And then, of course, the former chairman of the House Armed Service of the Foreign Affairs Committee, Elliot Engel, what a superstar he is, out of New York, he identified that it was wrong and that the Iran deal was wrong. President Trump, it was courageous on his part to begin the sanctions against this evil regime, which in Tehran, which actually oppresses the people of Iran. The people of Iran do not want to live in a totalitarian, authoritarian state. I'm so hopeful for the young people of Iran that one day they get to live in freedom, and we need to be encouraging that, not encouraging the mullahs to further persecute and torment the people of Iran.
Congressman, how do you interpret the announcement by Iran that they have reached 60% uranium enrichment? I mean, it's not even like they're fearful that the United States might do something. They're just boasting openly of this achievement.
And Tony, they're bragging. Okay, they're bragging that they have every intent to proceed to develop a nuclear weapon and to proceed against the American people. And of course, in the meantime, let's be real. These are the people who say death to Israel, death to America. That's what they mean. It's in English, okay? So we don't have to interpret it. And that's what they mean. And so it's really sad for the American people to be put at risk this way, which it should not be.
You mentioned, Congressman Wilson, Israel, one of our closest allies, especially in that region of the world. This puts them in great danger.
Hey, they're in direct danger. They already, the missile capabilities of Iran already, they can strike Israel, they can strike southeastern Europe, Greece, Bulgaria, Romania. They can attack India. But their real goal is what they call the Great Satan, and that's the United States. And so they can't wait to develop an ICBM capability to commit mass murder, unimaginable, against the people of the United States. And hey, we've got every opportunity with sanctions to provide and work for regime change in Tehran.
You know, the Biden administration, well, actually, candidate Biden criticized the Trump administration, saying that diplomacy was the answer here with Iran. And thus far as I'm aware, Iranian officials have refused to meet with the Biden administration.
Isn't that amazing? I can't imagine why they didn't meet because, hey, we know, talk about appeasement. Wow, this would be a record appeasement, capitulation. And so I don't know why they're not understanding this. And then sadly, another thing, I work very closely with the European Union. I'm very disappointed. A reason they want the Iran deal reinstated is because we give tens and tens of billions of dollars to Iran, and then they spend it in the European Union. So they've got a conflict of interest. We don't have a conflict of interest. President Biden, President Harris should be protecting the American people.
Congressman Joe Wilson, always good to talk with you. Thanks so much for standing firm on the wall here in Washington, D.C.
You're here, and thank you, Family Research Council, what you do for the American people. Thank you, Tony. Best wishes on continued success.
All right. Thank you, Joe.